What if you were the living embodiment of all pervasive peace? What if all sentient beings all around you increase their vibration towards harmony by merely being in your contact? What if, through conscious reasoning, focused will, and intentional living, you reform yourself, thereby becoming a catalyst in sparking transformation in others? I'm Shilpa Lewis, meditation, mindset, and mindfulness coach for midlife mompreneurs, and you are listening to Omnipresent Awareness, the podcast that will inspire you to use your story to serve humanity, in not just healing, but thriving as souls, each fulfilling their highest purpose. Welcome to Omnipresent Awareness with Shilpa. This is your host, Shilpa Lewis, owner and founder of Omni Mindfulness Coaching. Before we get started, if you haven't already booked a free discovery session with me, click on the link in the description. I'm a holistic transformational life coach, specializing in helping midlife mompreneurs bring balance, clarity, and life alignment both personally and professionally, so that you may live your best life. There is tremendous healing value in simply being able to know someone is holding authentic space for you to listen and be accessible as an accountability partner and mentor. If you feel overwhelmed, or if you feel the need for some support navigating life as a mother or as an entrepreneur, I would love to provide you with my coaching. If any anecdotes from the stories of the guests from this episode or any of the podcast episodes resonate with you, or if you find any value at all from the content from these episodes, then consider booking a free discovery call with me. Together, we can manifest my vision to be instrumental in the biggest rise in consciousness and awareness and human transformation. And now, here is today's episode. And now, a conversation recorded with my partner in awareness, Tanya, from our joint podcast, Mindful Mompreneur Moments. And oh yeah, if you could, please listen to the very end of the podcast for powerful insights from our guest. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Next up, Leeanne Brennan. Leeanne is an illustrator, animator, and mindset motivator living in North Carolina. She creates sensitive, whimsical art to help unblock limiting beliefs and manifest a life you can fall in love with. She runs programs to help people start a goal, follow through, and become the type of person that stays consistent. She practices gentle achievement, which celebrates the twisting, nonlinear, slow, unknown path of following the heart. For Leeanne, only 3 years ago, the very thought of creating consistent personal artwork in sporadic bursts of time throughout the day while caring for her little kids would have seemed absolutely impossible. After discovering mindfulness and manifestation and going down the personal development rabbit hole, she completely changed how she views her life and what is possible. Her background in animation from Rhode Island School of Design and many years of working in video games and the innovation consultancy world as a freelance illustrator, motion designer, have prepared her for this particular moment in her life where she is ready to use her skills to tap into her subconscious to explain concepts around manifestation and mindset in a new way. The art and programs that she has created are a reflection of all that she is learning as she continues to do the deep inner work that is healing her soul. She strives to remind people that our minds are malleable and capable of changing our reality. In her own words, our dreams are already true. And now, here is Leeanne.
Leeanne, again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to have you, Leanne.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Well, you're most welcome. We'll get right into it. So I'm just so fascinated. You have a graphic design background, it's my understanding, and the way I understood it, you also have a mindset practice.
Yes, yeah. So my background is actually in illustration and animation. And I kind of found my way into mindset and manifestation work when when I was preparing to have my second baby. So I've been practicing for a couple years and now incorporating that into the art that I create.
That is so wonderful. And could you tell us a little bit more about your journey on creating your I would say this new path where you blend graphic design with mindfulness.
Yeah. So I've always been a visual learner. So in high school, when we had to learn really hard things in, physics class or US history or Spanish class, I was writing meticulous notes with drawings that went with each one for me to try and understand the concept. And I've kind of always done that. And so when I returned to that beginner's mindset of learning this new stuff with mindset and manifestation, a couple of years ago, I was very new to spirituality in general. So a lot of these topics were brand new to me. So my illustrations are really a way for me to break down these into metaphors or different ways for me to understand what does it feel like to overcome self-doubt? What does it mean to, push through your resistance? My illustrations kind of bring that to life with a character and help people and myself understand deeper, what those concepts mean.
That is just so fascinating. And I too am a very visual person, so I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, in preparation for this podcast, I went on your website, and I'm so excited to talk to you because the video that you have on there is just you're so excited about the product, and it shows that it was like a labor of love, and the illustrations are so cute. I put myself on the wait list, by the way, because you sold out, I think, pretty quickly, right?
I did. Yeah.
And so I had to mention that we feel your enthusiasm behind this. So it's just so nice to see an entrepreneur who is so excited about their product because you can feel it through the screen. It's really nice.
Oh, that's such a compliment. I'm so glad that came through because I wasn't intending to create an affirmation deck. Actually, with these illustrations, they started when my son was 6 months old, and I knew that I just needed something creative to go to in between the sleepless nights and the diapers and the breastfeeding, something that was simple that I could do on my iPad and just still feel that moment of productivity because I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. So that's what they started with. It was just a way for me to stay creative and to further understand, all this mindset work. But as I went, I realized the drawings were kind of affirming these concepts for me, and I was really starting to go back to them. I was scrolling on my Instagram and looking at them and reading what I wrote, and it was a tool. It became a tool for me. And as those drawings started to stack up, I created a 100-day challenge for myself. So I challenged myself to create 100 of these, the same theme, the same style. And so as I started to build up, I realized, oh my gosh, this is a tool. This is something that I could create something to share with the world to help them. And I started making art prints, actually. I have one behind me, and those are really fun because it's a big, bold statement on your wall that you see a constant reminder. But a lot of people were saying, I have a hard time picking which print I want. I want them all. And, they all mean different things to me. And I was saying, oh, I agree. I like flipping through all these drawings. And one day the affirmation deck just came to me. Of course, a card deck is a way that you could see all these drawings. So I'm just so excited that it's finally here and I can share it with people.
It's just so amazing because I have to say as well, I love that it's black and white. I don't know, there's something about it being black and white that makes it very multicultural. Like you could put just anybody's face in there and make it your own. So it's just beautiful. I love the concept. Everything about it is just great.
Thank you. I'm so glad you feel that way because I did want people to see themselves in the art, even though it was really a character of me.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep it general enough where it could be a reflection back to the viewer.
Absolutely.
And we know what it reminds me of now that I've seen them on your site and I see the image behind you. It conjures up this image of like old school vintage or even the early versions of Mickey Mouse and being monochromatic colors, but there's so much depth in it because you are then putting yourself into the story as opposed to letting the colors tarnish the thinking, you know?
Well, what it does when an image is so simple, there's no escape. You can't get lost in the craft of it. You can't get lost in the rendering. You're forced to look at the message. It's so simple. You're forced to go right there and say, okay, what is this woman doing diving off this cliff? Oh, it says unknown in the ocean. Ooh, what does that mean for me? Oh, she's leaping out of her comfort zone. Oh, how could I do that? You know, it makes
me have shivers just hearing you. Yeah, it's a really simple way of saying it, and
it reminds me of Marshall McLuhan. The medium is the message, and your medium is delivering the message.
Thank you. I'm so glad you feel that way. That's great feedback. I love that.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I had a quick question. So even though maybe the intention wasn't there, but maybe on some subconscious level, you organically developed it. Can you share any kind of mindfulness modalities that you have integrated maybe before you did this or perhaps after some reflection?
Yeah, well, it actually really started with manifestation work, which I just kind of stumbled into by following a friend to this women's circle one day. I had never been to a women's circle. I didn't know what that meant. It was called Moon Club and it was very approachable. It was a hint of woo-woo, but not too much. And it was my first introduction into, meditation and sitting with other women and reflecting on our thoughts. And in that circle, I learned what manifestation was. And I was talking with this woman and she led me down this path, gave me all these resources, these books, and different workshops. And I started doing those. So I really started to do all that personal development work, the shadow work, the inner child work, all that stuff where you're digging deep and uncovering things that you've buried for a really long time. And that helped me kind of release a lot and understand myself better. And then the drawings actually came from journaling. I read the book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and she talks about morning pages. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing that when my son was I think he was around 3 months. I started that practice because I was listening to the audiobook because, we can't sit and read. I was listening to it. And so in the morning I would get up with my son at that ungodly hour of, 4 or 5 a.m. or whatever it was. I would make my coffee. And while he was happy for, 2 minutes, I would get my journal out and just dump all of that subconscious inner dialogue out. And I found myself sketching. I found myself getting into this zone. I was releasing all that self-talk, and then an image would just come to me. And it was kind of based on the books and podcasts that I was listening to the day before. So I would just get these quick flashes of an image that would embody a concept I learned about the day before. And because I was in that mode of journaling, I could catch it. I could be aware like, oh, there it is, and put it down on paper really quickly. Mm-hmm. So that really became a practice for me to use journaling to not only, calm myself, give myself space and time to just be, but also to download these messages that turned into, my work now, my art.
That's amazing. I don't know if you saw both Shilpa and I smile ear to ear when you said Artist Way, because Shilpa and I met through a meditation coaching course that we took, and we had to read that book
Oh my
for the
gosh.
course, so we were very familiar with the
I
work.
spent probably a year doing that journaling, and I still want to go back to it because this concept of download is so real for me. There will be times when I'll be meditating and I'll be like, "Oh, great, brilliant idea!" And I usually text it to Tanya. I'm like, "Why does it come to me just when I'm
She'll
meditating?"
always say that. Why does it come to me when I'm
Yeah.
meditating?
Yeah. But to have that practice of saying, "Oh, if I don't grab this now, it's going to leave me." And actually, I found myself, when you're a mom, you really don't have a lot of time to sit and journal. So it was any monotonous task where I found myself washing dishes, in the stroller on a walk with my baby. And that's when those downloads come. And so I started realizing I have to leverage these inspired moments. And I would keep a note in my phone. I still do this. And I would just write a sentence or two describing the image that I saw. So for this woman diving off the cliff, I would just write in my notes, "Woman dives off cliff, says unknown in water." And then that would remind me enough to remember that image.
Yeah.
Because when I have time to sit down and work, to actually sit down and draw the thing, I'm not usually inspired. That's not the moment when I have ideas. So learning to catch those before they fly away has been huge this year.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more, because I find I relate to you so much, in the sense that, as you know, my son is like latched onto me right now. And when you don't take the time to download it as you think of it, he can wake up from a nap, or he can, things happen, and you don't even have time to, once you're sitting down, you have to have it all ready, or else you kind of lose it, and you're wasting precious time that you could be just doing what you have to do. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Leanne, the idea that just capturing it in your notepad and your iPhone, that I can completely relate to, because taking the moment to just write, sometimes I don't have the patience because I need to go feed my son or something needs to be attended to. But as you said, you're doing a monotonous task, you're walking, you're washing dishes, and then those sparks start coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so wild, but it really is the way.
Yeah. Our next question for you is, how about manifesting what you want in life through things like these amazing cards? What would you say about that, about manifesting?
Oh my gosh, I love manifestation. When I learned what this was, I feel like I always had an idea of, vision boards or, imagine your future, but getting into the work behind manifestation, doing that shadow work and that inner child work that I talked about. Um, there's this workshop I did called Unblocked Money and all these unblocked things. There's this woman, Lacey Phillips. She has a bunch of workshops called To Be Magnetic that really helped me. I also really enjoyed Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That was huge for me. And there's this woman, Layla Delia, that has a lot of classes that I do. And I just love, she has a book called Vibrate Higher Daily. And just this idea of our energy frequency, thinking about those high vibe, if you will, like those elevated emotions of joy, peace, love, gratitude, feeling those feelings while you're holding this vision of, what if my life could be this? That is so powerful, because a lot of times we get in our head and we're just thinking, we have the thoughts of, oh, well, I would like to be a successful artist. I would like to make this much money. I would like to, and you make a list of, all the things that you want. But unless you feel what it would feel like to be that person, if you almost, become grateful for the fact that it's already there, and it's just coming to you now. We're in the moment of it being drawn to you by taking little baby steps towards that future self every day. You're kind of saying that potential reality is already existing. It's already out there. A lot of people who talk about the quantum field say every potential future is there, every possibility. There's infinite ways that we could be, and they're all there, and they could be, in us, be us in an instant. So time doesn't exist. It's really just about raising your frequency, your energy that you're giving off, and taking steps every day to say, actually, I am that person right now. So when I work and when I started to get into this illustration style, I was really saying to myself, who do I want to become? When I started the illustrations, my goal with the 100-day challenge was not to have 100 drawings. It wasn't linked to the result. It was linked to, I am so tired of having fear and hesitation when I sit down to draw. I want to become the type of creative person that can slip into that flow state and enjoy my drawing immediately. And by the end of the 100 days, I became that, and that was success for me. I wanted to be that type of person. I wanted to be an artist again, and I had really lost that. So for me, manifesting is really about, thinking, but also feeling, who do you want to be, and trying to figure out how you can take steps to be that person now, and of course it's going to grow and expand and get bigger as you go, but how can you be a little bit of that every day?
That's an amazing, amazing answer. I mean, I hope our guests take the time to really listen to every single word, because I could not agree with you more. I believe that Shilpa and I have manifested you in our life, because the law of attraction is very much real. And when we talk about quantum realities and quantum physics and stuff like that, us being able to manifest people such as yourself into our lives it's a powerful thing. And I just thought that question would be spot on for you, because of the nature of your work and how you do it.
What you articulated not only gave me goosebumps, but I really resonated with everything. And some of us, even who practice this, need that reminder, because sometimes there's that you get too much inside of your head, as you expressed, but then you put yourself, you showed up for yourself, you put it into practice, and you articulated the manifestation, which is just so inspiring. And again, what Tanya was saying, though, we do feel like we manifested you into our life, because for January, I wanted something epic. And lo and behold, I see you in a forum, and I'm like, she would be so good.
Oh, that's awesome. Epic Bones. There you go. That's epic.
I don't know how you came up with the name.
Yeah, the name. So the word epic actually means a long poem, typically about a hero or a legendary figure. So that word, to me, I look at that and say, you know what? We are all our own heroes. We're all walking around having our journeys just unfold as our own, historic figure. And the word bones is really about, what do we leave behind? Our physical shell. The only thing that's left is our bones. And so I think about these epic bones, this hero of your own story, and the thing that is, here in the physical world are these bones, and we're all just walking around these just magical unfolding stories. And I just think it's so beautiful. So that's where the name came from.
Oh, amazing.
I just love it. Now, what insights would you share with our audience, many of whom are mompreneurs like yourself, and we go through some of the same struggles and challenges, even with the best mindset. But how would you give them some inspiration or insights on how to live with intention?
Living with intention, I think for me, it's become, you can't just get intention. You have to take those daily steps every day. And a lot of people say that, but the reason that I am able to do it is because I figured out a way to create these challenges for myself. And that kind of puts a container in front of me and says, okay, for this period of time, I want you to have clarity around one thing. And I want you to put every shiny object aside. Even though it's a great idea, you're not doing it now. Okay, write it down if you want, but it's not for now. I'm like being my own mom. Like, you get to do one thing for this short amount of time, and let's see where it goes. Let's see what happens. So the 100 Epic Days program is just that. And actually right now I'm doing a 12-day version of that called Epic Sprint. And it's really exciting because it's shorter. But I create these containers of time and say, just pick one thing. Set your intention. It's not forever. It's okay if it's the wrong thing. You know, we get all in our heads of, but what if this is going to bring me down the wrong path? I have so many options. And I'm kind of giving us permission to say, I know, yeah, it might not be right, but, you know, unless we pick it, we're not going to get anywhere. We just have to pick one. And ultimately, all paths are going to lead to the same place. It's just going to be in a different way. So that's what I did to start this business. I didn't know I was going to start a business. My drawings that I started in January of this year were for me. My Instagram account was private. No one was seeing those drawings. It wasn't until day 30 that I decided to share them because my mom kept asking me what I was doing. And, you know, halfway through, I decided to experiment making a print and seeing if anyone wanted it. And by day 100, I had a website up and I was really starting to get some momentum around what I was doing. And unless we can kind of give ourselves that grace to say, it's okay to just pick one thing. And why don't you just set a period of time and give it a chance? I think we give up too quickly. And that's why a lot of us feel frustrated at the end of the year that we didn't get anything big done. It's because we give up. And so I'm asking people to pick a thing for a set period of time and give it a chance for a while.
That's
What
amazing.
kind of example would you give us for, like, pick a thing? Let's say, like myself, like with a 9-year-old and starting a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's really interesting. The last 100 Epic Days that I ran, people picked lots of different goals. There was this one guy who picked walking. He just wanted to go for a walk every day because he was feeling really sedentary. And he started going for a walk around the block every day, and it was feeling really good. He was clearing his mind. And then he, you know, after 30 days, you get tired of walking around the same block. So he started exploring trails around him and driving to different places. And then by halfway through, around the 50-day mark, he started to take pictures of things that he loved on his walks. And by the end of the challenge, he said, oh my gosh, I realized a love for photography that I had no idea I was interested in. And now he's taking all these beautiful pictures, and he discovered this joy of play, and he's incorporating that into his business. So it's really just about picking an area of your life that you're just curious about. There's this really great podcast that really helped me with Elizabeth Gilbert. The podcast was On Being. Krista Tippett interviewed her. It's called Curiosity Over Fear. And she talks about following your curiosity versus forcing some sort of, I need to find my passion. And so I encourage people to pick an area of your life, health, career, spirituality, you know, whatever those big buckets are, and think of something that you want to see some improvement around, or that you're just curious about, and just give it a chance and see what happens. And so many people came back to me and said, I was so surprised by day 100 on what happened as this unfolded. So That's what I would say.
That's an amazing challenge. Is it a workshop? But do you have people pay for that, or how does this work?
Yeah, it's a paid program. The next one is in January, and it's a private community, and I host these live events. There's live check-ins. I'm live doing my own challenge with everyone, which I think is what makes it really unique.
Amazing.
Because every day I'm posting videos, I'm posting pictures of what I'm doing for my challenge. So the affirmation deck I created in the last 100 epic days. So people saw from start to finish my timid little sketches and ideas for the affirmation statements. They saw it go from paper to product in 100 days. So some people pick project implementation goals. I had a woman last time who pulled out a sketch for a children's book that she had in the attic for years, and she brought it full to life and sent off to a publisher by day 100.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the gratitude that people must have towards you for just getting them off of the chair or off of whatever and getting it done. It's amazing.
Yeah. And then there's the habit forming folks. So I had a woman who did meditation every day and just for 100 days showed up for herself. And I have all these strategies for, how to make that sustainable. You don't have to do the full version of your goal every day. But yeah, I'm live with everyone doing it every day. And we don't check in every day because that's not sustainable either. I have set check-in points. And we get the goal done together, and it's incredible. It's become what I look forward to every year.
And when did this get started? These challenges, when did you start them?
So I've run 2 so far. So I do one in the winter and one in the summer. So the next one coming up is this January. This winter.
Very nice. We will definitely promote that for you. It's very similar to what we do, keeping people accountable. It's an amazing thing to have somebody hold space for you, and you do it with such grace, and I'm sure whoever is there kind of feels the meditations that your vibe is just sending off to them. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been really fun, and it's fun to do it together. It's not a top-down approach. It's like, hey, I'm in the trenches here with you. I'm doing my thing as well. So it's really fun.
Right. Yeah.
I love it, Leeanne, and I look forward to further dialogue. We'd love to have you back in the near future.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in a year. I'll be surprised to look back.
Yeah, thank you so much, Leeanne. It was such a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Thank you for being here. Thanks again for tuning in. Check out the links in the description, and please subscribe, follow, and share. And continue to be omnipresent.